What the seven of us are attempting is very risky. I suspect they are not the only ones watching, but it must be done or we lose the bridge forever. I speculate that no one calculated the formation of the island, that interdimensional matter collisions would resolve rather than push. Now that I witnessed it firsthand, it's obvious that pinching alone made it inevitable. When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others? No matter, it seems the lengthy precautions worked. The theorem was a success. You arrived outside the loop at the exact moment of expansion. This effectively paused the singularity, giving us time to create the devices needed to synchronize the junction. What I didn't factor was that the only way to trigger the device was from within the loop itself. Thus this hasty and primitive recording, and why now I find myself looped. Activate the beacon at precisely the moment this timer reaches nothing. The 0 point must be contained once more. If they are correct, it will be the end.
What is going on, guys? It is Foxy bringing you a brand new video. Now today's video we are going to be going through the visitor tapes and just talking about them and trying to explain them the best we can. Now I love theories and stuff like this with anything, whether it's movies, whether it's games or whatever. I absolutely love theories and conspiracy theories. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like down below if you do. Quick disclaimer, my theories are not 100% true, but spoiler warning in case they do become true. So yeah, let's get straight into the video.
What the seven of us are attempting is very risky. I suspect they are not the only ones watching, but it must be done or we lose the bridge forever.
Alright guys, so we start off with the visitor saying what the seven of us are attempting is very risky. Now, the seven of us, people think that that refers to singularity, ruin, and all the special skins from each season, but I don't think that. I think that the seven of us actually refers to the seven visitors, or the seven versions of the visitor from different dimensions or different times in the universe. Now, let me break it down. So, obviously we have this visitor skin. Then we also have the scientist and then the new skin that's in the shop. And they all have the same kind of face. Now, obviously it could just be a kind of like symbol of their team or whatever. Say they're like a group of friends or whatever, or experimentalists or something like that. But I think they're actually different versions of each other. Take the visitor, for example. The visitor we saw at the start of the island, but then we haven't seen him since. But we now have this new scientist person that is kind of in charge of our island now. Now, I will expand more on this when we get further on in the tapes, but I just want to put that out there that I think the seven of us actually refers to seven visitors. Now, he also says, I suspect they are not the only ones watching. Now, I'm not too sure who they are. They could be referred to the company or whatever we saw, that helicopter that went around the map. Some people think that that's the case. Some people have forgotten about them, but we don't actually know who they are. To me, it sounds like the visitor and the seven of us are trying to break out of this loop that we're in, of a battle royale. But who knows? We don't know who they are. We don't know if they're watching. We don't know anything about that. But it must be done or we lose the bridge forever. This kind of like also refers back to this kind of escape that I'm thinking that this mission is. We lose the bridge forever. This bridge could be the rifts or whatever. They are going to use that energy to break out of this loop, of this battle royale. Because you think about it, we continuously jump out the same bus each and every game. Now, there could be so much more to this, but we just don't know.
I speculate that no one calculated the formation of the island, that interdimensional matter collisions would resolve rather than push.
Alright, so the next thing the visitor says is, I speculate that no one calculated the formation of the island. Now, by no one, I think he's referring to the seven of us, and then also they that was mentioned in the previous tape. Now, who knows who's in charge of this island or whatever, or how everybody got here, or who the bus driver even is. Could the bus driver be one of the seven, or they that are watching? Who knows? So he then also goes on to that interdimensional matter collisions would resolve rather than push. Now, I'm not too sure what this means, but I think this means that kind of like, obviously everything that's happened with the island, it's kind of all resolved itself, if you get what I mean. The snowstorm that we got in season 7, it kind of just came in. It didn't destroy the island or anything. It kind of just resolved itself. The Ice King got out. Obviously, the Fire King was in there too. And then this volcano comes along, but that volcano didn't destroy the map. It kind of just resolved, and it just kind of pushed the map forward. Now, I'm not too sure what that really means, but that's kind of what I get from that.
Now that I witnessed it firsthand, it's obvious that pinching alone made it inevitable. When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others? No matter, it seems the lengthy precautions worked. The theorem was a success.
Alright, so first off here, we hear him saying, now that I witness it firsthand, it's obvious that pinching alone made it inevitable. Now, I think this kind of refers back to when the visitor was first introduced in season 3. I think him witnessing it firsthand, so him making that rocket and going into the in-between or whatever, I think that's him witnessing it firsthand, and it's obvious that pinching alone made it inevitable. I'm not really sure what this means, but maybe pinching is a reference to an experiment or something that he's done before. Who knows? When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Now, this also refers just to the theory that there's more than one visitor, that the seven of us is just 7 visitors. When I hear this again, will it help me remember? So he left these tapes for himself. So the visitor currently isn't on our island, I don't think. It's the scientist. So these tapes were left by the visitor for the scientists. Now he's saying, when I hear this again, will it help me remember? But the scientist isn't him. But what if it is? The scientist is just another version of him. So the visitor predicted or knows that there's more than one of him. So he's left these tapes for himself in a different world. Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others? Now, I'm not really sure what this means, but maybe this just means that there is no way that they can communicate through the in-between or whatever. They can't talk to each other. So these tapes are the only communication device, and these are experimental. When I hear this again, will it help me remember, or once loop, will I just be as muted as the others? So maybe he's trying these tapes. He doesn't know if this will work. Maybe this is why it's taken him 7 times to get this right. Maybe the first time he tried to write it on a note or something, but maybe the notes got lost. So I think these tapes are really, really key to the storyline and not just what's on them. No matter, it seems the lengthy precautions worked. So maybe this refers to all these different rift beacons that we've got. Maybe he's trying to, maybe he's just testing to see if different islands can come through and replace each place. I don't know. I'm not really too sure about that. The garbled theorem was a success. We don't actually know what the name of the theorem is. There's a lot of guesses out there, but truly right now I don't think we know, and it must be important if it was purposely kind of like censored out.
Us, you arrived outside the loop at the exact moment of expansion. This effectively paused the singularity, giving us time to create the devices needed to synchronize the junction. What I didn't factor was that the only way to trigger the device was from within the loop itself.
I was you. Now, this also refers to the fact that I think he's referring to himself, but a different version of himself. He's actually referring to the scientist here, but he first off saying I, us, you. So maybe he knows that it's him, but just in a different time or a different multiverse. So we arrived at the outside of the loop at the exact moment of expansion. So of expansion, I think this refers to these rift beacons that he was setting off. So he was bringing in these different zones. So this scientist arrived outside of that loop at the exact moment. So I think maybe he's trying to break this loop of this battle royale. So I don't really know what this means for the story, but I mean, everything I guess we will know on Sunday. This effectively paused the singularity, giving us time to create the devices needed to synchronize the junction. So, when this scientist arrived, I think maybe the singularity, the orb in the middle of Loot Lake, paused. Because if you remember, that was going to destroy the whole map, but it got paused, and there's like trees and cars that are mid-air, kind of like they're not just floating. I think they're paused in time, and I think this has given the visitor time to create these devices in the rocket and stuff, needing to synchronize the whole junction to make this big explosion go away. Who knows? But I think this is what it's really starting to sound like. Sounding like that they're just trying to save the island, or save everybody on the island. What I didn't factor was that the only way to trigger the device was from within the loop itself. So I think this means that maybe he knows the device needs to be set off on the island that we know, but then also there's these other devices that need to be set off within the loop. Otherwise, why else would it go off? He needs to synchronize it, so he needs the countdowns to go down and everything to be exactly in sync to be able to synchronize the junction. So he needs to get into the loop himself and leave the scientist here on our island. So yeah.
Thus this hasty and primitive recording, and why now I, find myself looped. Activate the beacon at precisely the moment this timer reaches nothing. The 0 point must be contained once more. If they are correct, it will be the end.
Thus this hasty and primitive recording, and why I, find myself looped. Now, I think this recording, and him saying this hasty and primitive recording, actually refers to the fact that he didn't know about this before he had to go into the loop. So he's had to leave these tapes and send them back via these rift zones to be able to communicate to himself. And why now I find myself looped. So he has now found himself looped, and he's had to loop, and he can't come back in time. So he has had to just leave these recordings so the scientists can hear them. Activate the beacon at precisely the moment this timer reaches nothing. By this, he's referring to the timer that is above the rocket in the middle of Dusty. The 0 point must be contained once more. So they're obviously planning to contain this big energy coming from Loot Lake. They're trying to control it so it doesn't destroy the whole map. If they are correct, it will be the end. So I think that this might refer to the fact that once they contain this energy, maybe then they move off to try and save a different island. And that is where we will get our new map for Season 11. Because obviously we have the loading screen of some of the characters waving goodbye to the bus. So what if we're on the bus and we're going to save a different island? Who knows? I think that is a pretty strong theory. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys did enjoy this video, and if you guys want me to make any more theories, make sure to let me know down below. Share this video with your friends. Do all that. Thank you guys for all the support recently on the channel. I mean, I don't really think there's anything else left for me to say. So I guess I will see you guys